Hey guys, this is Carla, and this time I'm here to do a review on episode 10 of season 1 of Shadowhunters. This episode is titled This World Inverted, and I have to say, there were so many silly subplots in this episode, and by silly, I mean, lazy, pointless, borderline stupid subplots in this episode that normally I would be really pissed off right now. Screaming at the wind that this episode was terrible and that I hated it and that I was disappointed, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. The thing is that for all the horrible, pointless, lazy, badly written subplots that they put into this episode, I really love the alternate dimension. Like, that entire part of it, I adored. I enjoyed watching it so much that it makes me kind of not mind about all the other crap. You know what I mean? So I'm actually really happy about this episode, even though I recognize that a good 50% of it was terrible. But I loved getting to see that alternate dimension, and I don't know, it was just I found it really entertaining to watch. And I've watched it twice already, just today. Watched it twice, and I actually sat down and wrote a series of points that I wanted to talk about. So this review might actually be a little bit longer than usual, and that's saying a lot because my reviews are generally long. But maybe the order will actually make me want to keep it short, or will make me move faster through all the points that I wanted to make. I don't know. But either way, I'm going to start with the good though, because I want to start on a positive note. And as I've already said, even though I'm going to nitpick the heck out of this thing, because I did have a ton of stuff that just I didn't care for, or I didn't like, or that didn't make sense. There's a ton of that in there, but overall, I feel that I really liked the episode, if only for the stupid, alternate dimension plotline, which I just loved and adored. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to start with the good first. There were some pieces of dialogue that I actually really liked, especially when they were throwbacks or shout outs or just gags, mythology gags of sorts that I really liked. I didn't think, I have no idea why I found this funny, but the Nerdferatu line made me laugh so hard. It's ridiculous that I laughed at such a stupid line, but I did. So I like that one. I love that Luke, in the alternate dimension, Luke opened a rare bookstore, because if you're a Mortal Instruments fan, you know that that's what Luke was in the books. He wasn't a cop. He owned a rare bookstore. So it made me chuckle. I thought it was really funny. I love the inclusion of Chairman Meow in church, because fans really love them, and they haven't really been talked about in any of the previous episodes. I would like to actually see them in real life, or maybe, I don't know, maybe Magnus can get them later. I guess church isn't going to be in the institute, but hey, they could get a cat, and Magnus could just adopt a cat and be Chairman Meow. I mean, it could happen. I would love to see them come back. I thought it was really cute that they mentioned them, and I thought it was really cute that Magnus used the cats to spark Clary's memory of him, and the scene they had before. So I thought that was really cute. I loved Clary imitating Magnus's flourishes when he tries to cast a spell, and he's so flamboyant and stuff, and he moves his arms so much, and I love that Clary kind of exaggerated the movements. I laughed. It made me laugh a lot. I thought another line that I really like is when Jace when Jace is introduced to Valentine in the alternate universe. And he's like, "It's a pleasure tonight," and he cuts himself off. And it's so funny to just see Jace tongue-tied. Also, later on when, they're attacked by the demon in the alternate dimension, Jace just kind of freaks out and starts crying like a baby. I mean, that's hysterical, okay? That's just hysterical. I did like that they made, they allowed Meliorn to fight, because, he's a fairy knight. He should be able to fight somehow. I mean, I guess the Sealies are kind of all about peace and whatnot, but if he's a knight, he should be able to fight at least. And I like that. I love that line they had where it's like, "Oh, a sword just came out of nowhere," and Meliorn's like, "Well, the earth provides." I mean, I didn't like the part about the sword popping out of nowhere, but I like the explanation, I guess. I also really loved that callback when, Alec lets Magnus into the party, and then Magnus is like all worried about Clary, so he like takes off, and Alec's like, "Playing hard to get. I love a challenge." And that's a callback to Magnus's line from like, what was it, episode 2 or 3 or something. I love that. I screamed. That was so great. I love that they did that. So yeah, I mean, I always bag on the dialogue in this show, but some lines I really did love in this episode. Other things that I loved is just, I mean, the acting was pretty good, especially in the alternate dimension. Okay? But even out of it, some of it was really good. I mean, I enjoy Simon, even when he's being a part of a really stupid subplot. I enjoy watching him, and he's so funny and so adorable, and I just want to watch him. So I enjoyed his scenes outside the alternate dimension just because of him, like by himself, not necessarily the plotline in itself. So I enjoy watching Simon even when he's, being in a really bad subplot. I, however, do not enjoy the stupid fangs. I hate that they're still not getting rid of the stupid fangs. I'm glad that we don't have to see them 75% of the time, but when we do see them, they're just so stupid, man. I kind of adored Alan Van Sprang, aka Valentine, playing the good father. He's so good. I mean, Alan is such a great actor that he can play evil really convincingly, but he can also play good really convincingly. And I thought he was adorable as, the overprotective, I want to meet your boyfriend type of father. I thought it was adorable. I really like Lydia. That's the thing. I mean, Lydia has grown on me. I didn't care for her in her first episode, but by now, I really do think that she's genuinely, interested in just doing what's best for Shadowhunters. She just hasn't realized that sometimes that doesn't equal doing what the clay wants them to do. So yeah, I do like Lydia. I really do, and I in this episode I really like that she seemed genuinely worried about Alec, especially when he tried the Parabatai bond and stuff. But that's the thing, because I like Lydia, I'm pretty sure that she's going to die by the end of the season, because I mean obviously she's not going to marry Alec. We all know that, but I get the feeling that she's going to die, just because I kind of like her, so it happens. As far as the alternate timeline goes, oh my god, I love Izzy. Alternate Izzy was the best thing that has ever happened to this show. I mean, she's nerdy and perky and adorable, and I just love her. And when she was, dancing like a dork at the party, oh my god, I squealed. She is so adorable. I just wanted to throw my hands into my screen and just hug her forever. I love her. It's seriously, I have a smile on my face that hasn't gone away, and it's all because of her. It's because of her. She was adorable. I love her. Also, I adored Alec in the alternate universe. I mean, he's obviously more comfortable with his sexuality at this point. He's basically dressing like David Burtka, and he's planning parties, and just when I think I can't love this alternate dimension anymore, I do, because he's also perfect and I just love him. And then there's the whole Simon Izzy thing, which is kind of the first time we're really kind of introduced to the idea that they could possibly be a couple, and I love it. I mean, obviously I know from the books that they have a thing, but they are so cute. They are so cute. I mean, and Simon was so excited about giving him his key, and then Izzy with like the glasses and the Star Wars t-shirt, and I love them. Seriously, like my heart was going to explode. I just love them so much. I also, another thing that I loved from the alternate universe is Clary's kind of longing looks at her parents, at Valentine and Jocelyn. I thought that was really, really good that they put it in, because here's the thing. Bit of a spoiler if you haven't read the books, but in the books there's a scene that is kind of also like a sort of perfect life dream sequence scene that Clary has. Where we sort of see like what people would be if situation wasn't like it was right now. But that scene in the books doesn't take place in the first book. It's actually much, much later down the line. And it's not exactly the way it looked here. It's a different sort of set of circumstances. But one of the things that's in there is just this idea that Clary sort of longs for a normal family in a way, because her family's so screwed up, let's face it. So she kind of longs for a normal family, and she almost wishes that her parents would have been good parents and would have stayed together and would have loved each other and been good people and stuff. And that reminded me, this scene reminded me of that. So I appreciate this whole thing about Clary looking longingly at her parents, and for longing for what could have been, in a way. So I appreciated that. Now, outside the alternate dimension, there were also some scenes that I liked, slightly. I know probably a lot of people are in a tizzy that Alec is being such a D-bag, and I can't blame you, but personally, I kind of love that Alec was willing to betray even Jace, but only because he did it because he wanted to save Izzy. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm one of my favorite things in the Mortal Instruments series is the relationship between Alec and Izzy, the sibling bond between them. They love each other so much, in their own way. And sometimes, I mean, I guess they don't show it very often, but they would die for the other, like, no questions asked. And they just love each other so much, and family is so important to them, that I really like to be reminded of that in this show. And I like that if it came to saving Izzy, he would even give Jace up. You know what I mean? And a lot of people might not like it because he's betraying his parabatai. But I don't know, I thought it was sweet. Maybe that's wrong of me. I'm not sure, but I what can I say? I kind of liked it. And of course, Alec and Jace are gonna be back to being BFFs soon, so I'm not exactly worried about it. I like that he was willing to go that far just because he wanted to save Izzy. Speaking of that, I really loved the Alec and Izzy scene. Nothing happened in it. They were just talking, but I just really loved it because I love them. I just love them. That's it. And then another thing I liked by the end is, remember a few episodes ago when I was kind of wondering aloud that what was going to happen. Oh, by the way, spoilers here. What was going to happen once Jace actually met Valentine? Because, in case you don't know, Valentine will turn out to be Jace's father. And he and Clary will be siblings, for now at least. And that's kind of the big reveal of the first book. So you kind of need for Jace to not know what Valentine looks like in a way. so I was wondering how they were going to do that, because over in this show, like, everybody knows what Valentine looks like, right? But I guess this time now they actually, this is how they actually solved it, because they find Michael Wayland in Valentine's lair, and obviously that's just going to be Valentine under some kind of glamour, right? So I guess he just used Michael Wayland's face or looks in order to raise Jace, and that's how Jace knew that Jace didn't know that it was actually Valentine, you know? So it's good that they're finally explaining how they're going to work that out, because I thought they were like just locking themselves up in their own mythology and falling into a plot hole, and I'm glad to see that they actually are going to give it some kind of explanation. As far as the effects themselves, one thing I really liked is I love the color scheme of the alternate dimension. I loved it, and I think they need to use that for like every episode ever. And I know this totally goes against everything this show stands for, because Shadowhunters are all about shadows and nights and black and stuff like that, but I actually just really love the color scheme. It was so bright and so airy and so real, and it felt like these people could be your friends, and I don't know, I just really loved it, and I hope they decide to like film in more, you know, sunlight, probably. Alright, so that's about it for the bad things. As far as for the good things, as far as the bad things, while I liked a lot of the dialogue, there was also a lot of the dialogue that was really, really, really bad. Starting with like the very first line uttered in the entire episode, which was Clary's, "Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore." Really? They're going to just, that line is going to get so old one of these days. Everybody uses that line, and the delivery here just wasn't great. Also, Simon's thing about, you know, this vampire transformation being like puberty but with less zits, that was strange. And it's, again, it's one of those lines where I like the delivery because it was Alberto and he delivers everything great, but the line itself just stood out to me as really bad. The whole cosplay combo with Valentine and Jocelyn and Clary, that was weird. It was so cringeworthy, the entire cosplay thing. Like, it was just really weird, and I don't know that parents actually speak that way. And just the conversation was strange. It was cringeworthy, I don't know. Then there was Jesus, that one line when he's talking to Meliorn, he's like, on a scale to 1 to namaste, how screwed are we? What even is that line? That makes zero sense, okay? No. And then later on, when Clary's speaking to Magnus, she's like, I'm a Shadowhunter. And it just came out so weird. I don't know if that was the dialogue itself, or if it was just Kat failing at delivery, but it came out so weird. And then we get to the point where I talk about the weak, stupid plot lines that I don't even know what this episode was, okay? Because, again, this whole thing, Meliorn did not have as big a presence in the book as he has in this season of the show. So this whole thing about them dimension hopping, like I said, that doesn't happen. Doesn't happen until much later in the books. Certainly not in the first books. Certainly not related to the Seeleys at all. So, like, at the beginning when Meliorn's explaining about the portals, that whole thing is just way overly complicated. And then he just keeps talking, and the scene is so exposition heavy that I was almost falling asleep halfway through. I'm like, do I even need to know all this crap? Like, seriously? And then there's this whole thing about how Seeleys guard dimensional doorways. Really? Like, I've read other books where they do that. Like, I'm a fan of the Dresden Files. In that case, yeah, sure, they guard dimensional doorways, but not in the Mortal Instruments. Where the hell did that come from? The Simon thing. Like, Simon, what the hell are you even doing? Okay? He shouldn't even be outside in that condition. It was just proved just later that he has zero control over his appetite at the moment. Like, what is he even doing outside? Why would Raphael just be like, oh no, go, I don't want to see you? And then he goes to the werewolf's Chinese restaurant. Like, really? It's like the worst possible. I refuse to believe that Simon would be that dumb. Really. It was just bad idea. By the way, speaking of, things that are just weird, then later on Meliorn keeps explaining stuff. And then he clearly tells Jace, it's like, yeah, Shadowhunters need permission to go into the portal. Only demons can pass through unaided. Gee, that's convenient. I wonder what's gonna happen next. He's like, seriously? Seriously? First you make up all these rules about Seelies guarding portals, and you have Meliorn spend like half an hour explaining all the intricacies of portaling, and then it's like, oh, by the way, demons can sort of jump through. And you don't expect me to believe that's like an anvil-sized hint of what's going to happen? I can't. I don't even. And speaking of Simon, by the way, I mentioned this just a few minutes ago, that he's still having trouble controlling his impulses. And in that one scene, he almost kills the internal affairs dude. He almost kills him. And the thing is, it's going to get really old really fast. This whole thing about him attacking people just because he can't control himself. So when he actually loses all control, it won't be shocking anymore. So that's one of those things that I didn't like about them turning Simon so early. It's because now he has all this time to, like, quote unquote learn how it is to be a vampire. And it's going to make no sense when he actually loses control, which will happen later. You just know it. Then there was this Rash dude, who's supposed to be one of the Shadowhunters that Isabel kind of took out during the last episode. Rash is nothing more than a glorified doorman, okay? And that is so bad, it's almost borderline offensive. You know what I mean? It's like, poor Rash. What are you doing to that poor guy? Really? Have some respect. Also, the whole Alec and Jace thing. It was great in the previous episode, but this time around, it was strange. It's like, it makes no sense to me how tracking someone through a parabatai bond would weaken the bond. Like, what if your parabatai was in danger and you needed to save them? And in order to save them, you needed to find them. So you find them through the bond and then you weaken them even more? Like, now they're in more danger? That makes no sense. How would you... Why? That makes no sense. Also, that whole bit about Simon pretending to be the demonic killer, clearly they've basically given up on sense at this point. Like, that was so... it was like bad sketch show bad. It's like, who would it was borderline Scooby-Doo-ish. That's so, I hated that. Like, seriously, do you seriously expect me to believe that this was the grand plan? Also, there's no way Simon is that good an actor, okay? He's a nerd. He's not that good. And then Luke getting off the murder charges just because the supposed killer was caught. Like, before they even ran any tests on the body. They didn't have his prints yet. And then they were letting, Luke go without any charges. That makes no sense. It's not that easy. The cops would still be on him until it was proven that he didn't have anything to do. What if the killer had, an accomplice or something? What if Luke was in on it this whole time? Nope. He just let Luke go. It was so unbelievable. I don't even... And then the one thing I really did not like about the alternate dimension was the demon thing. Because suddenly you can kill a demon with a broomstick. That is not even... I don't even know what to say about that. It's like, oh, just, stick him with a broomstick. Really? Really? Shadowhunters, really? I don't... And then the last two things that I didn't like about this one were actually visual effects stuff. First of all, Million doing this Tai Chi-like thing or whatever to open the portal was very stupid looking, and it went on for a really long time. I don't even know how Jade Hasame actually made it through that entire scene without cracking up, because it was just really stupid looking. That said, the portal itself was better than other portals they've done in this show, so I like that. But then they go and ruin it with the stupid demon. I mean, I thought the Forsaken looked bad. Okay, I thought they looked like bad zombies, but they've got nothing on this demon that looks like, you know, the little clay man from Power Rangers, except uglier. That was a horrible demon. Horrible. Why would you do that? It was terrible. So yeah, that took me right out of the thing. Like, are you kidding me with this thing? They could have done so much better. But yeah, I mean, so as you can see, I had a lot of complaints. I had a lot of stuff that was just bad and that didn't make sense to me, and that was just lazy writing and, you know, bad special effects and just horrible dialogue at points. But overall, I really did love the alternate dimension. I loved seeing an alternate take on these characters. It was adorable. It was funny. Most of the good things were in the actual alternate dimension. Most of the good parts of this episode. So I don't know. I mean, it just kind of balances out for me. I actually liked this episode. You know, overall, even though it had a lot of bad things. A lot of bad things going on with it, but I enjoyed the alternate dimension so much that I almost don't even care. I blurred them all out here just because I kind of have to. It's a review, so I have to point out what I liked and what I didn't like. But overall, I look back on this episode and I really enjoy it, and I've already watched it twice. I might even watch it again sometime this week because I really think it was fun. You know what I mean? Like, even through all the bad, I enjoyed that alternate dimension so much that I don't even care. So yeah, that's pretty much my take on the entire episode. Come at me, bro. I don't care for those who liked it, for those who didn't like it. I don't even care. I balance my my emotions however I want, and it might not make much sense if I count like all the stuff that I liked versus all the stuff that I didn't like. All I know is that overall I just enjoyed it so much that I don't even care about the bad stuff. I mean, I do, but it didn't take my enjoyment out of the episode, you know what I mean? So, yeah. I don't know. I'm weird. That's the conclusion I'm getting to. I don't know. And I really, really hope we can see more of those alternate dimension thingies because I really enjoyed them. I enjoyed them a lot. So yeah, that's about it for my review. I'm sorry it was such a crazy review and a long one at that, but I had a lot to say about this episode, as you can see. But yeah, that's about it for now. As usual, be sure to visit our website at thegeekypub.com. We have reviews not just for the previous Shadowhunters episodes, but also for other TV shows, books, movies, games. We have a ton of stuff in there, so be sure to visit and check it out. And also, if you please, you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that's usually where our videos go up first. Most of the time, even before they hit the website, they're up on YouTube. So if you don't want to miss anything that we upload, you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is the best way. And that's it from me today. I will see you guys in my next review, which will probably not be this freaking long. So, bye!